As a high school teacher, this last week has really shown me that we are failing our boys pretty hard. As the last line of defense before these kids get into adulthood, I really do feel like a part of our job is making sure that these kids are socialized and that they are respectful of just being in public when they graduate. But what we're seeing is 18 to 25-year-old men who are completely unsocialized, who are lonely, who are honestly incredibly crass. They make jokes that are not funny. At least the subject matter isn't funny. The joke, the punchline is rape. The punchline is death, it's murder, it's harm, it's racism. Like, that's the punchline. That's the purpose of the joke. Isn't this a funny joke because it's racist, because it's about rape, because it's this crazy thing that we're not allowed to talk about? And where's that starting? Where do they get in their head that this is something that they are okay to do out in public, just openly? Here. This is where it happens. What I'm noticing is that these kids aren't facing pushback. They're not facing pushback when they make seriously unfunny jokes. And when I say unfunny, I'm trying not to be subjective about it. I'm really trying to point out that, like, the joke is rape. The joke is death. Like, it's not a joke. It's at the expense of somebody who, as a teenage boy, you don't experience it. You aren't afraid of it. You're not a girl walking home alone at 10 p.m. in the dark wondering if you're gonna even make it home. They're making those jokes here in the classroom, in the hallway, to their friends, between classes, openly in the middle of class. And I don't know if it's happening in middle school. It's got to be happening in middle school, in my opinion. But when I, as a teacher, say something to them and go, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? Like, what's happening in your brain right now?" They don't have an answer. They don't even seem to recognize why I'm even questioning them. They don't have pushback. Just this morning, a kid gave me the dirtiest look and flicked me off and then ran into another classroom because while he's walking through the hallway, he makes a joke about butt rape. And I just stop him. I go, "What's funny about that? What's funny about it, bud? What's funny about rape? What's so haha about rape? What's so freaking hilarious about your friend being raped?" And he just stared at me. He just stared at me, and then he got an attitude with me, and then he flicked me off. These kids need to be shamed. And I know that's not something that we really talk about, but the idea of public shaming has always been a thing that humans have done to make sure that social stuff works. And right now, we're not shaming these boys. We're not shaming them. They don't experience shame. They feel like they can do and say whatever they want. They can show up to class 20 minutes late. They can flick a teacher off. They can curse at you. And they feel this way. They feel emboldened. And right now, especially, they feel like no consequences are coming their way. And that's where we need to change. So this is really for, in my opinion, the male teachers out there. It is our responsibility to show them what being a man looks like, what being a man actually pertains to. It's not making crass jokes. It's not making girls feel bad. It's not laughing at people when they're down. It's being helpful. It's building people up. It's about being supportive. It's about being a rock when somebody needs it. None of these boys are prepared for that. None of these boys are living a life right now where that's where they're going. And honestly, based on the way that I see these boys react to female teachers, they don't respect them in that way. They just go, "Oh, wait, all right, mom," and then they just ignore them. It's us. It's you and me, bud. Like, me and you, we have to be the ones to be in their face and go, "You're being a bad person right now. You are choosing to be a bad person right now." And I don't know why you're choosing that. I don't know what about your life right now puts you in a position where you feel like you could just be a jerk, where you can just make jokes at the expense of others, but it's not funny. It's not good. It's not right. Stop doing that. I don't know. I feel like the next couple years are going to be very long and very hard, but I'm not a fan of the back end of Gen Z, and we're about to start getting the start of Gen A, and we have to fix it. We have to fix it. We have to make sure these boys understand that running through the hallways and shouting "your body, my choice" is not okay. It's not right. It's not funny. I don't know who you're doing this for. There are no cameras here. You're not going to blow up on TikTok. You're just making women feel unsafe. Is that what you want to be doing? Is that the life you want to live? Is that the person you want to be? I don't think they do. I don't think that's who they want to be. So let's remind them of that. Let's actually take the effort to remind them of who they want to be in life. And then hold a mirror up to them and say, is that who you're being? I don't think so, bud. Parents of teenage boys, this one's for you. I'm not a parent. I am not going to come on here and make any kind of claims about parenting. I don't have a child. I don't know. I understand. However, I am a teacher, and each year I get about 180 students that I have to, in my own way, parent. I'm not there at home. I don't know what goes on outside my room. I get them for 45 minutes a day. However, I am an adult. They are directly with me. I am responsible for their lives. I am responsible for their learning for those 45 minutes a day, every day, 180 days a year. And if they are, coming back to the school next year, they are going to still stop by. They're going to say hi. They're going to fill me in on their lives. They want me to know about those things. With that out of the way, now I'm coming at you. Are you guys just not, aware that when you give them a phone, when you give them access to the internet, they will go and do things on those? Do you not know what's on the internet? Do you not understand what's on the internet? And I know I'm coming at you with some energy right now. I'm coming at you with some anger and frustration. But, is nobody coming at you with anger and frustration? I don't understand. Would you let your child, your 12-year-old, your 13-year-old, your 14-year-old go to a rated R movie with zero supervision? That's what you're doing every time you allow them to go on YouTube, to go on TikTok with zero supervision. And what are they finding on there? They're finding things that they don't understand the context around. They're watching 25, 30, 35-year-old men make these jokes around with each other. And, those guys, they have some understanding of what they're talking about. These kids, none. They have zero context, zero clue, zero understanding of what's happening in those videos. They just find them funny. And a couple of those guys have recognized that nobody's watching what their kids are watching. Nobody is paying attention. So the Mr. Beasts, the Jake Pauls of the world, the Aiden Rosses of the world, what are they doing? They are monetizing the hell out of your children who watch what they put out there and then emulate them because those are successful guys. Why are they successful? Again, not because they're talented, not because they're actually good at what they're doing or because they're putting anything out in the world that is necessary or anybody actually wants. It's because they know how to keep the attention of a 14-year-old boy. And me, in this classroom, I'm not going to be able to match that energy. I can't throw up a video that will make them watch it the way that they will be intrigued and just inundated by a Mr. Beast video. Not super fair to me, but at the same time, it's not super fair to reality. Mr. Beast videos, Aiden Ross videos, Jake Paul videos, they are hyper-realistic. They do not exist within our reality. And so these boys, they come into class and they have no idea. They have no idea how they're supposed to act. They emulate what they watch. So parents, please, for all of us, for society, watch what your kids are watching and make sure they aren't doing those things. Make sure they know, hey, that Jake Paul guy, not a good guy. Look at this. Look at how many times he has faced accusations of terrible deeds. Look at how many times he's run into the police, right? Show them, give them context for what they are watching. Like, you wouldn't let Joe Rogan stand in front of my classroom and talk to your children for 2 hours. You would find that an abuse. Why is that man talking to my kid? And yet you give them the means to access all of that all of the time. And you're not parenting them about what they're watching. If you want to be the cool parent who shows your kids rated R stuff, fine, whatever. But at least you're there in the room with them and you can give context to what's happening on the screen. You're not doing that right now. I can do my best in the classroom. I can provide them with wisdom. I can provide them with a great source of expectations and a role model up front. But again, it's 45 minutes. They will watch a video longer than that when they get home of the absolute worst 40-year-old man doing the absolute dumbest garbage and think that's how they can act and think that that's what they're supposed to do. The internet is an incredible resource. We should be utilizing it every single day for these kids to broaden their horizons, to see things that they're not used to explore regions of the world and ideas that they don't know anything about, and really get an in-depth, first-hand account from them from anybody, anywhere in the world. That's what makes the internet incredible. That's what makes me want to use the internet in my classroom as much as I can. So this isn't a video about demonizing the internet. I think it's incredible. It's about parents not looking at what their kids are watching. You're not parenting. You're not. I'm sorry. Like, do better. Why am I doing so much more work than you are? Like, yes, you are going to work and you are providing for your children, but you are not emotionally there for them. And you are giving up the emotional training of your children to profit-engineered garbage on the internet. Mirror. Face. I really don't think this is that hard of a fix. I don't. There's a lot of people in the comment section of my last video who were saying, oh, boys have always been like this. Yeah, and we should be doing better anyways to make that not so. But right now, there is one side who is actively engaging those 14, 15, 16-year-old brains. And there is another side who isn't. And look at what society is turning into. So if we all just sit over here and throw our hands up and say, well, what are we going to do about it? These guys are going to win every single time. Every time. They're winning right now. We can fix that if we try. I'm going to be quick about this one because I don't think it's my place to really say much about it. But the girls are on the same internet and they're not behaving the way the boys are. So what's different there? Well, the internet that the boys are watching is completely different than the internet the girls are watching. Are they all in the same internet in the sense that the internet is this giant conglomeration of things? Yeah. But I mean, they're all on YouTube. Yeah. But they're not being funneled into the same directions. Their Instagrams don't look the same. Their TikToks don't look the same. Their YouTubes don't look the same. Did we all wake up and forget recently that 10 to 15 years ago, every single girl who was in the Tumblr space was coming out of it with eating disorders? Like, that's what the internet's doing. That's what Instagram does to the girls. It puts them in a place where they are presenting themselves to the world. Boys, they get to hide on the internet. That's where their vitriol comes from because they're faceless on the internet. Their accounts, it's all gamer tag related. It's all hidden. They don't put their they don't put their faces in their profile. They don't put their names in their profile. They're not interacting and engaging with the internet face first. Girls are. And girls are because their internet is telling them that they need to be the perfect version of themselves. And what that perfect version is not dictated by what's inside their soul. It's dictated by what's going to get the most likes, what's going to get the most views. So girls don't have identities for themselves anymore. I think they're breaking out of that. And I really do think that's because 10 years ago, we did fight back against what was happening in the internet space with influencers on Instagram pushing all these beauty standards and things on Tumblr, pushing all these like eating disorders onto girls, basically. And we fought back against that. And I think we did a pretty decent job. I don't see those issues anymore, or as much anymore. And honestly, what's really happening is we're seeing a merge of like the way girls are interacting on the internet now is that they have to interact around the vileness that has now spurred apart on the boys' side, right? So they have to be the perfect version of themselves. They have to present the perfect version of themselves in order to get the attention that the internet says they need to be searching for. Like, we're seeing a rise in like trad wives at the same time that we're seeing the rise in the manosphere. Like, it's all connected. Like, that's the funnel that they're putting these two different groups into, and ignoring what's going on with the girls to favor our attention on the boys again. Man, we're just doing the same thing again and again, guys. We are leaving the girls behind too. And honestly, at the end of the day, like, this is one of those things where girls, like women, I'm sorry, but it's another instance of until it happens to the men, the overall issue isn't going to be solved. We didn't solve the issue of that's existing on the internet when the girls were facing those issues. We helped the girls get through it, but we didn't solve the grander issue because it wasn't affecting the boys. The men weren't behind those things. Women were leading the charge against the unrealistic beauty standards that were being pushed on like Instagram. And it sucks that this is the way our society is, that until it happens to men, we just don't do anything on a grander scale. So my final thought on this, because I think 15 minutes of total runtime is ridiculous, and nobody needs to hear me talk for that long. Genuinely, I think that we have given up society's role in nurturing and raising children to the internet, and people on the internet are running with it because there's a lot of money on the internet. There's a lot of money in views. There's a lot of money in eyeballs. There's a lot of money on clicks. And these people are monetizing your children, boys and girls. And it does not matter if you personally like whoever that content creator is as an adult. You have to understand that the developing brain of a child is not getting what you're getting out of that experience, and we are seeing it in society right now. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. We are all facing the same issue with the children. And if we don't come together to talk about it, parents and teachers, parents, you specifically, recognize that we are all in this together and we are trying to help each other. And when you go and close the door to all of us because you think you're the perfect parent, you are not helping society as a whole. So genuinely, everybody, let's come together, let's figure it out, and let's fix this. Because arguing in the comment section about, oh, Joe Rogan's not actually that bad, you're missing the point. You're missing the entire point, and the kids are being left behind. We got to do better. Dads, I need to hit you with a reality. Please do not be mad at me. Don't come at me. I know what I look like. I've read the comment sections. I don't scream masculinity. I don't scream manly man, but I am a man. I grew up as a boy. I have things I can say that should be respected. And really, I'm not trying to even speak necessarily directly from me. That's not the point of this video. I just think that maybe I'm a messenger that you actually respect. What I want you to do is go back through my other videos and read the comment sections. Read the thousands, literal thousands of accounts from teenage girls, high school, sometimes middle school, and what they are experiencing right now in school. Read their long, detailed, and concise stories. And please, take them as fact. Take them as reality. Do not try to discredit them. Do not try to sit there and go, oh, girls are just wanting attention. It's a TikTok comment section. They're clearly just comfortable enough in that space to give their story and talk to each other. And if you look at the other comments, it's just a bunch of people supporting each other. So don't look at their messages and try to discredit them. Read them and take them seriously. Those are stories about how young boys and young men are treating little girls and their teachers. Are we proud of that? Are we proud of how the boys that we are raising up are acting? Are we proud that girls are scared to go to school? Are we proud that women are scared to walk home alone at night? Are we? And then what I want you to do is I want you to read further and see how many women your age are sharing their experiences from when they were in school, from when they're at work today. They may not be talking about you, but you know who they're talking about. You know exactly who they're talking about. They're talking about your friend. That guy who you know is perfectly fine, that you know is just joking. It's not a joke anymore, guys. They're telling us that it's not a joke anymore. So stop using that excuse, please. As adults, you guys need to take life seriously and stop using the excuse that it is only jokes. Stop giving your boys the excuse built in to their vitriol that it's just a joke, because nobody is taking it as a joke. Only you are. And if you're somebody who this doesn't pertain to, awesome, great. You are making the bare minimum line. But what you're not doing, because it's something that I have a problem with doing as well, is keeping the men around you accountable as well. This is why women say things as generalities now. This is why you feel the need to jump into a comment section and go, not all men. The reason why we're all lumped in together is because we're the only ones that listen to each other. You're not listening to women, and they know that. And they know that we listen to our boys, and if our boys aren't saying anything, we're not changing anything. And as adults, if you are perpetuating this kind of environment at home in front of your children, and you are allowing them to act like you act as children, make the same jokes that you make as children, there's responsibility you need to be taking for how your child acts. Just like, what are we doing here, guys? What's our plan? What's our goal? Are we happy about this? Are we happy about the world we live in right now? Are we happy about how women perceive all of us? How so many of us have to put in so much extra work into making women feel comfortable and safe around us because we don't do the work on our end to make sure that the men who make them feel like that are properly handled. And that's a reality we have to live with. That's a reality we have to face and do something about. Until we recognize that our vision of manhood is steeped in arrogance and cruelty, we will not get better. I really do feel like most of us just want to live a good life, just want to live peacefully, just want to live without all the nonsense around us. And I do feel like most of us are trying our best. But we have to understand that what we're doing is not enough. And I see your comments too. I know how difficult the world is right now. I understand the economy's not great. I understand that you're probably working a ton. I understand that you don't see your children as much as you'd like. And maybe that is a factor in why your children feel like they have no consequences, because there's nobody at home to instill those consequences. And that might not necessarily be your fault, but what you have to do is figure out how in your life you can make it work, because the excuses aren't working anymore. You cannot just excuse barely parenting anymore. You can't. You can't. Look at what's happening with our youth. Look at what's happening in the schools. Our kids can't read anymore. Our kids can't read anymore. And you know who tops the list? Boys. And do you know why they can't read? Because nobody at home is holding them accountable. And if you read through those comment sections, most people are agreeing that it's because they do not have a man at home who is telling them and showing them what they need to be doing. And if you take personal offense to that and you jump into the comments to try to defend yourself, you're not getting the point. You're still missing the point. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about the we. And until we do better, until we hold each other accountable, the women are going to suffer and our children are going to suffer. And we are going to continue to raise boys who lack empathy, boys who do not know how to care for others, boys who do not know how to protect others, boys who do not know how to act properly. I don't want to live in that world. I really don't. We have a loneliness epidemic amongst young boys and men right now. And if you understand that that loneliness epidemic exists and you understand the concept of self-isolating due to your behavior, why are we not connecting those two things together? You cannot whine and scream about the isolation and loneliness of boys and not connect that directly to their behavior. You have to connect the two. They are linked. Boys are self-isolating right now because they are acting however they want and they are getting kicked out of every single circle except for the ones with their little unique set of boys, and they are just allowing themselves to be the worst possible version of themselves and giving themselves pity for it. That's us. We're not guiding the children. Guide your children. And I saw a lot of comments about how my opinion is steeped in a political ideology that you don't agree with. Yeah, no, my opinion is based on politics, but it's not the one you think. My ideology is based on creating a world full of kindness, empathy, and wanting to see the best for as many of us as possible. Those are the things that we need in society to make this world that we all are saying is incredibly difficult easier. Because we are perpetuating why this world is so difficult right now. And if we aren't willing to put in the work to actually make it better, we're just complaining to complain. And I'm over complaining to complain. I'm where I am because I want to see a better future. I want these kids to live in a better future. If you don't want that, I don't know what you're doing, and I can't agree with you. And we're not having an actual discussion, but I think most of us want that. So do some self-reflection, dads. Figure out what you need to be doing with your kids to make this world better. So here's my challenge. Go home, talk to your kid tonight. Ask them some deep personal questions about how they act at school, how they act towards girls, and why they do those things. And don't walk away if they give you a light, simple answer. Press them. That's your job. Press them. And if you have daughters, ask them about what they experience in school and listen to them. Talk to your wives. They have stories too. Raising kids takes a village, and we need to remember that. TikTok's dead in a month, so I'm just gonna ride this wave until it crashes. I feel like I've been maybe a little bit too negative in a lot of my videos recently, so I wanna try to switch it up with this one. I wanna talk to people who may not be on the side of teachers. When I go through comment sections on other teachers' TikToks, I see a lot of the same complaints against teachers. I see a lot of the same statements said towards teachers, things like, oh, you knew what the job was going into it. Oh, you knew the pay was bad. Oh, you're supposed to be there because you care about the kids. Things like that, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I recognize the sentiment there, but I also think that you need to kind of flip that logic back and use that logic to kind of define the person that you're looking at and listening to. Most of us are here because we genuinely believe in the mission of teaching and the job of teaching and the idea that it holds within the function of society. I think teachers don't get a great rap in how much we care for our students, because you're right, we aren't here for the pay. We're not here because we necessarily love everything about the job. We're here because we have some sort of greater calling within us, or we're just really good at it. We're just really skilled at this particular thing that society needs. That's why we picked the job. And it shouldn't be forgotten when you are thinking about teachers. Maybe you had a bad teacher growing up. Maybe you know a bad teacher right now. But that's not all of us. That's not everybody. That isn't the entire field. Most of us are here because we have a greater desire to help these students. And we recognize that we're good at doing that. So when teachers come on here and complain or, make videos like I did, it's because we're having a difficulty doing our job and accomplishing it, given some more grander societal issues that we can't necessarily solve on our own inside the classroom. We need the village's help a lot of the times to be able to function, to be able to get these kids to learn what they need to learn. And we need people at home to be promoting the importance of education, the importance of learning, and the importance of trying when you're here, so that, these students, these children can actually grow and learn while they're here. So when you watch videos that I've made, I don't want you to look at those and think that I'm attacking anybody, that I am trying to demonize certain groups, or that I hate certain groups. It's all coming from a place of care. It's all coming from a place of, I want these kids to be the best versions of themselves possible, because I care about them. I know their names. I know their livelihoods. I understand who they are as people. That's part of my job. And I want them to succeed. I don't get judged on their success anymore. I don't get judged on how well they do in my class. That's not a function of teaching anymore. I don't get a pay raise because more of my kids pass. I am here to make sure that they are good people, that they are well-rounded people. And that's kind of my personal mission while I'm here. And I think that's a mission of a lot of teachers because, again, we're not here for the money. We're not here for the benefits. They're not great. So I guess I'm just asking that when you're watching videos from teachers on TikTok, most of the time, and you're seeing them complain, I think you're just seeing the most beaten down version of that teacher, because when they're up at the front of the class, I promise you they're giving it their all. They're still giving it all of the care and love and attention that they know they can give. It's just at the end of the day, or during their free period, or during lunch, or, after something that's happened, you're a human being and you're going to respond to it in a certain way with a certain demeanor. And I just ask that you don't discount them immediately as complaining and whining. They're coming on here to share their experiences, hoping that you might think, hey, I don't want that happening. Let me talk to my kid. Let me make sure that doesn't happen here. I'd like to bring maybe a more positive attitude to teacher talk. I think a lot of teacher talk right now has gotten pretty sour, and there's a lot of things to be sour about, guys. I hear you, I see you. I could make 40 videos on everything that you guys are making as well. But I think it's kind of dampening our message. It's kind of hurting our message. And our message should be that we want our students to be the best that they can be. And we are just reaching out to the community to try to see how can we make that happen? How can we make that possible? Because I'm sick of complaining for the sake of complaining. It doesn't solve anything. So I think I'm going to make it my mission from here on out that, I had my short series on maybe some of the harsher things that I had to say. But from here on out, I want to be positive. I want to give tips. I want to give advice to people who are seeking it. I want to talk to parents and really form community around how we can do our best for the kids. Because that's what our jobs as adults are in the village, is making sure that the kids are coming up fine, that their world is nicer than our world, and that they are safe and happy and growing and maturing. And I don't think we're doing a very good job of that on a societal level right now. And we just need to do better at cultivating it. On a side note, main video's over. I really struggled coming on here and making a video today because I got a haircut recently, I shaved recently, and after the series of videos I made last week, I had this like pit in my stomach of, am I gonna be as manly as I was in those videos with my new haircut and my new face? And I'm annoyed that was my first thought. I'm annoyed that gave me so much stress. I'm annoyed that as somebody who I think tries to actively fight against a lot of these weird norms that we try to establish around image, I was falling into it. I was being also hurt by it, and it was also affecting my thought process and my logic and decision making. And I think that just goes to show that even when you think you are above the fold, you're not. You're still super stuck in what society has for you. And I'm just done caring, I guess. I don't want that to be a part of me, of this. I don't care what you think I look like. I get complimented by the people I care about, and that's what I care about. If this upsets you into thinking that I'm not a man, or as manly as you'd want me to be, just Google 70s, 80s rock stars. I'm right in that ballpark. This is what was the manliest thing to be 30, 40 years ago. I'm not buying it. Get over it. Thanks for stopping by.